gun stocks. If you ever played any VR shooter for a decent amount of time, I'm sure you've heard about them. These weird amalgamations that look like scaffolding are used by some VR players to better their aim and increase immersion. You may have seen them if you have looked at any live esports events that show the players or on streams. Link in the description. If you have done any research into them, you may have realized that they are pretty expensive. So, you may have looked for a cheaper alternative and found some interesting design choices. Now, it doesn't matter what you call these, whether it's a poop tube or any other combination of words, you do have to say they do not look the most appealing by any means. So, why don't we go on a little ride and let me show you what this rabbit hole of VR gun stocks has to offer, including a nicer looking poop tube that you may have seen in the intro. Starting off, we have the paid stocks. Firstly, we have what most people would say is the go-to option to buy. It's the Pro Tube. The Pro Tube has customization and choice whether you want to spend the least you have to or you want to sell your left kidney. This company has you covered. Starting off with the low end is the basic stock, which includes chrome pipes and a sling, with all the pieces that are 3D printed in grey, although other colours are an option if you're willing to spend a little more. And mag cups. Now, what are mag cups, you may be asking? Well, they are cups that have a magnet attached to them. These cups are put onto your controller, which lets them attach into place with the magnet attached to the stock. This allows for quick detaching and attaching instead of the now prehistoric non-magnetic cups, which forced you to slide the controllers in and out of the cup whenever you wanted to do anything. Even though I said this is the low-end stock, it is still a whopping €120, which is not very cheap for a lot of people, especially if you just bought yourself a shiny new headset and are looking for accessories. But if you get the most decked out Pro Tube, it will put the price of this one to shame. Coming in at a whopping €640, it is most definitely costing you a pretty penny, but it has the specs to show for it. Coming in with all carbon tubes, all 3D printed parts using carbon fiber filament, a bipod and a force tube attachment, which lets you feel the gunshots in your shoulder. It is definitely something to be amazed by. Now, the only bad that I have seen is that some people using chrome pipes with the index said it gives some weird tracking because of the reflective surface, but it is easily fixed with some electrical tape or any other way to cover the pipes. Since I personally do not own a Pro Tube or have never tried one, Pro Tube, hit me up, email in the description, I cannot fully vouch for it, but looking at what other people have said and the lawyer Pro Tube community, I can say that it is a good but pricey choice. Also, the customer service is absolutely amazing and the owner is pretty active in the VR Gunstock channel in the Onward Discord. There's a link to that in the description. Moving on to the next paid stock is the Mammoth Apto. This is a stock that I have not really seen around anywhere other than reviews, but even so, it does look like a very viable option if you want maximum customizability. It also looks very nice. Now, you may be thinking, how is it possible to have more customizability when we already have a Pro Tube? Well, Mammoth's answer to that is the ability to change the rotation of the controllers left and right, and to change the stock to be a transformer with so many knobs, I just get confused looking at it. The price of the Mammoth is $180 with free DHL Express shipping, which does cost quite a bit, but the parts are injection molded, making them feel a lot more professional if you like that. It supports bottom and top mount magnets. This means that you can either have the tubes that hold the magnets above or below the controller for even more customizability, without needing zip ties for the knuckles like the Pro Tube. But it all depends on the controller, since not all controllers can be bottom or top mounted. The only version of the stock that I could find on the site is the Mammoth Apto 2.0 Stealth, which is the second iteration of their stock in black, which I was a little sad about since I personally liked the reddish color they had before. Once again, I have not tried this stock, but Mammoth, hit me up, email in the description. Lastly, for the paid stocks is the Virtual Rifle System Mark III rifle. This is the most gun-looking stock. It is made by an American veteran and is built in a very sturdy fashion, with injection molding being involved. It has the least adjustability out of all the stocks, with only having the stock being able to move up and down, and the front controller attachment point moving forwards and backwards. It only supports bottom mounting because of the way the body is made. They also have an optional front grip attachment which lets you grip the rifle instead of using the magnets. Reviewers have said that the larger than usual body does not obstruct the tracking for headsets like the Quest 2 or Rift S, which is great for the Questers out there. It comes in at a price of $146, which puts it at the middle price point compared to the ProTube or the Mamatapto. I have once again not tried this stock, but it does have a pretty decent following, not as large as the ProTube, but still pretty good. Moving on to the DIY tubes. This category has a large, and I mean large spectrum, going from just a pipe all the way to a 3D printed stock, which I will show you today. You can easily get away with just a poop tube made from plumbing pipe, which you slide your controllers into. There are many videos and pictures online to show this. Here are just a few builds. Now, this can end up being very cheap, as it is just a couple of pipes, some glue, and a saw. Your imagination and creativity is the limit. Now, to show what I would call a mid-end stock, are stocks that use thermoplastic beads to mold onto the controllers. I've used this before by molding some onto my controller with a coin and onto a pipe with a magnet to make a cheap mag tube. By all means, this was not perfect or good, but it was better than not having anything at the time. And it is not a bad choice if you want to try it to see if you would prefer playing with a stock or freehand. The final level of DIY stock, which I would personally say is borderline DIY, in my opinion, is the 3D printed stock. What I'm showing you now is what my stock looks like. I've printed this in PLA on an Ender 3 with 45% infill, if you are wondering. Now, I'll not share the files for this since it's so similar to the ProTube, which is copyrighted, and I don't want to get hated by those great guys over there. But I can say that with a little CAD knowledge, you can easily make yourself your own. This option is the cheapest if you have access to a 3D printer, as all it takes is not even a full roll of filament, some pipe, a couple of screws, and some magnets. But do be warned, the way you print this part is very important, since if you print them in the wrong orientation, they will easily snap apart, especially if there is little support. Well, that'll be the end of this video. If you did enjoy it, why don't you give me a like or a comment? Of course, this is always a choice. I can't promise that I got all the information in this video correct, so if you notice anything wrong, go ahead and correct me in the comments. Either way, I'll see you later, guys. Ciao!